In this video, I'm going to show to you how to install a Windows 10 operating system using a USB bootable device. On my previous video, I demonstrated how to create a Windows 10 bootable device, so just click the link below to watch that video. And now the first thing that we need to do is to plug in our USB bootable device. Next is we need to change the boot sequence within the BIOS settings window. So to access the BIOS settings window or BIOS utility window, once you turn on the computer or restart the computer, look for an on-screen message indicating which function key to press to enter the BIOS setup. The function keys used for entering the BIOS setup window may vary between manufacturers. Some of the more common function key messages are press del to enter setup, or F2 for setup, or press F1 to enter the setup. So here, since it says press del or F2, so I pressed del or delete key on my keyboard. So you have to immediately press that key because it will only display for a few seconds. If you miss that step, you have to restart the computer and try entering the key again. Upon entering setup, look for the title headings such as boot, boot order, or boot sequence. So here on my end, I'm gonna press boot menu option. Now we can go ahead and proceed to changing the boot sequence. So talking about the boot sequence, it is alternatively referred to as boot options or boot order. The boot sequence defines which device a computer should check for the operating system to load. Now, since our Windows 10 operating system is stored on our USB bootable device, so we will set our USB flash drive device as boot priority number 1 or boot option number 1. So if ever this is how your boot menu looks like, select removable device using the arrow keys on your keyboard, then press the plus key to bring the removable device at the very top of the boot order. After setting USB flash drive as boot priority number 1, click exit, then save changes and reset. Now the computer is restarting and it's going to look for the operating system from our USB flash drive. Before the installation process begins, if you see a message that says press any key to boot from USB, then just press any key on your keyboard to proceed to the Windows setup screen. So here we are under the Windows setup screen, so select the language, time and currency format, and keyboard layout. So I'll just click next to continue. Then let's go ahead and click install now. Now under the Activate Windows screen, you will have to enter the product key or skip it. So for now, I'll just click I don't have a product key. Next is select the version of Windows 10 you want to install. So I'm going to select Windows 10 Pro. Click Next, and now we are under Applicable Notices and Licensing Terms. So click I accept the license terms. Then under which type of installation do you want screen, click Custom to perform a clean installation and remove everything on your computer. And if you just want to update your existing OS, click Upgrade. So here I'm gonna click Custom. Next is selecting the partition where you want to install the Windows. A hard disk partition is referred to as the storage space or location on a hard drive. This is how it looks like if the hard drive has not been installed with any operating system yet before. You will see disk 0 unallocated space, or also known as the C drive. If you see multiple partitions like this one, you have to delete all of them one at a time until the disk 0 unallocated space is left. Take note, deleting a partition also means removing files permanently that are stored on that partition or location of the hard drive. So make sure you have already backed up all the files that you want to keep before deleting any partition. Now if you see the disk 0 unallocated space, you can either click Next to proceed with the installation, or you may want to create multiple partitions first. So in my own preference, if my hard drive has a large capacity or storage capacity, I'll create at least 2 partitions. The first partition, or the C drive, is for the OS and other applications. Then the second partition, which will be the D drive, is for the important files or backup data. Then to create another partition, click disk 0 again, then click New, allocate space in megabytes, then click Apply. Then once you have already used up all the remaining spaces in your hard drive, select the partition where you want to install Windows. So here in my example, since I only have 60 gig on my hard drive, so I will not create another partition. So I'll just select disk 0 unallocated space, then click Next. Then the Windows setup should now begin. As the setup is progressing, you can now see the Windows is installing. The installation may take few minutes depending upon the system's hardware capability. After finishing up, you'll be notified that Windows will now restart. Take note, if the press any key to boot from USB or DVD screen appears while restarting, do not press any key. Pressing one will result in starting the install all over again. After the reboot, you will be prompted to do the basic settings for your Windows computer. So first is selecting the region. So once the region has been selected, click Yes. The next is selecting the keyboard layout. So it's been pre-selected, so I'll just click Yes. Then want to add a second keyboard layout, so let's skip that. Next will be connecting the computer to a network. And if you're not connected to any network, select I don't have internet. So since we're not connected to the internet, let's click Continue with Limited Setup. Next is who's going to use this PC. So just enter your preferred username. Then click Next. Next, create a super memorable password. So just input your password and you may have to input it twice. Next is creating security questions for your account. So once you're done creating the 3 security questions, click Next. So installation of Windows 10 is almost done. Just follow the remaining steps in this video. Alright, so we have now successfully installed the Windows 10 operating system. And from here, you can start installing other applications like Google Chrome browser, Microsoft Office applications, and many more. So please take note, when you restart the computer, go back to the BIOS settings and under the boot sequence, set the hard drive back as boot priority number 1 since our OS is now installed in our hard drive. Okay, so that's all for this video and thank you so much for watching.